All right, let's talk about the soulmate. You know, that one perfect person who's supposed to complete you. It's a beautiful idea, right? But what if I told you it might actually be a trap? Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on this whole soulmate myth and figure out why this romantic ideal might be setting a lot of us up for some serious heartbreak.
And it all kind of starts with this one line. This line sparked a massive global conversation. So picture this. In the middle of the night, on her bathroom floor, the author of Eat, Pray, Love, Elizabeth Gilbert, has this huge realization. I don't want to be married anymore. That one single thought kicked off a journey that, honestly, it perfectly captures our modern quest for a soulmate.
I mean, Gilbert's story in Eat, Pray, Love, it basically became the blueprint for a whole new kind of fairy tale. It's all about rebelling against a life that doesn't feel like your own, right? It's a quest to build a life that's centered on your personal happiness. And, you guessed it, the search for a true soulmate. And her journey follows a pattern that's become, well, pretty familiar. First, you've got the discontent with a normal life. Then comes the epic, globe-trotting adventure to find yourself. And she finds what she thinks is the ultimate prize, her soulmate, a guy named Jose. But here's the kicker. After 10 years together, the story just repeats itself. She leaves him for a new soulmate. And that cycle, right there, is the soulmate myth in a nutshell. It's this constant chase for perfect feeling. And the second that feeling starts to fade, the belief is, well, you must need to replace the person.
So you have to wonder, how did this one person's story tap into such a huge cultural idea? Let's get down to it. Let's actually define what we mean by the soulmate myth.
Okay, so what are we really talking about here? Well, the soulmate myth is basically this idea that the entire point of marriage is to have this super intense, emotional, romantic connection with one person that makes you happy and fulfilled. It's actually a pretty modern idea, and it's rooted in this concept called expressive individualism, which is just a fancy way of saying that your personal feelings and how you express yourself should be the main thing guiding your life.
But what happens when this romantic fairy tale crashes into reality? Because, as it turns out, trying to build a whole life together on a foundation of feelings, well, feelings are a pretty fragile foundation. It's kind of a risky business. And you know what? There's actually a biological reason for this. That dizzying, head-over-heels, in-love feeling, it's a real chemical high. Your brain is getting flooded with a cocktail of hormones. We're talking dopamine, oxytocin, the whole shebang. But, just like any high, it's not designed to last forever. Eventually, that chemistry changes. And if your entire relationship is built on that initial spark, what happens when it starts to flicker out? You might think the love itself is gone, when it's really just the hormones settling down.
And listen, this isn't just some theory. The data on this is kind of startling. Get this. One survey found that couples who really buy into the whole soulmate model are a whopping 90% more likely to have doubts about their future together. I mean, just let that sink in. 90%. That's a huge number of people feeling like their marriage is on shaky ground. And this quote from a 35-year-old mother named Tanya, it just perfectly shows what that 90% actually looks like. She says, "I love him, but I'm not in love with him." There's just a big, huge difference between loving somebody and being in love with somebody. You see, for her, that little distinction was everything. She ended up leaving her husband, not because he did anything wrong, but just because that initial feeling was gone. When the butterflies are the entire point, their absence feels like the end of the world.
So, okay, if the soulmate model is so fragile, what's the alternative? Well, as it turns out, it's a model that most married couples already follow, whether they even realize it or not. And the difference between these two ways of thinking is huge. Just look. On the left, you've got the soulmate model. The main goal? My personal happiness. The foundation? That intense in-love feeling. And conflict? Oh, that's a really bad sign. Maybe you're with the wrong person. But then, look at the right. The family-first model. Here, the goal is the well-being of the whole family, like a team project. The foundation is a real commitment. Kids, money, supporting each other. And conflict? It's not a sign of failure, it's just a normal part of life that you figure out together.
So which model do most people actually live by? The answer might surprise you. Because despite everything we see in movies and hear in songs, a 2019 survey found that almost 3/4 of married couples, we're talking 73%, they actually identify with the family-first model. Only a tiny fraction prioritize that intense romantic feeling above everything else. That shows you there's this massive gap between the stories we're told and how most successful relationships actually work.
And you know, the Obamas are a really great public example of this shift. Michelle Obama once talked about their early romance in total soulmate language. She called it a toppling blast of lust, gratitude, fulfillment, wonder. I mean, wow, right? But she's also been really open about how the pressures of real life, kids, two demanding careers, living in the White House, that all replaced the initial high with some serious tension. But here's the thing. They didn't see that as the end. Instead, they did the work. They chose to recenter their partnership around their family, and they evolved from a romance built on feelings to a really resilient partnership built on commitment.
Okay, so all of this is leading us to one final, really powerful idea. And it's a bit of a paradox, especially when we talk about finding happiness. So, if constantly chasing that in-love feeling is just a recipe for disappointment, then how in the world do you find lasting happiness in a relationship?
Well, the answer is in something called the happiness paradox, and it's actually pretty simple. It goes like this. If you want to be happy, you have to stop trying so hard to be happy. So, step 1, stop pursuing your own happiness directly. Let that go. Step 2, start focusing on serving the needs of your spouse and your family. Put them first. And then step 3, this is where the magic happens. You discover happiness, but it shows up as a byproduct of your actions. It's not something you chased down, it's something that finds you.
And this isn't just some nice philosophical idea, it's actually backed by psychology. The psychologist David Myers put it perfectly. Doing good makes us feel good. It's really that simple. When you change the central question of your marriage from "Am I happy?" to "How can I serve my partner and my family?", you fundamentally change everything. You build a new foundation, and joy becomes way, way more likely. So when you think about it, maybe we've had it all backwards. Maybe the secret to a happy marriage isn't about finding that one soulmate who's supposed to make you happy. Maybe happiness isn't even the goal. Maybe it's the result. The beautiful, surprising result of choosing to love and serve another person, day in and day out.